To Kiki or not to Kiki? That is the question. Oh, who are we kidding? The answer to that is always to Kiki, honey. Let's go! All the world's a stage, and all the men's and women's is merely players. Girl, are you liking these Shakespeare quotes? Are you? Well, there's more to come. See how many you can find. Welcome back to the Kiki, everybody. I am Chris, and thank you so much for joining me again this week. It is lovely to see you again. I've missed you so much. Girl, you know there's been a lot going down this week on Drag Race, so we need to catch up. We need to Kiki about this. Put on your reading glasses because the library is open. And inside that library are a lot of Shakespeare books. I say books, plays, but in book form. So let's just go into this. So the girls come back into the workroom and it feels, oddly enough, like the dynamic is really starting to develop a lot now that Sacha Bell has gone. I'm not saying that she was stopping it. I'm just saying now that two queens have gone, it's now kind of like getting real. You know, this is the third episode and things are starting to evolve, develop in such a way that the girls are forming their cliques and we're starting to see more of them now. So this is starting to get to that point where we're seeing true colours. But we will get on to the Queen's personalities a little bit down the line, girl. But first things first, let's go through the mini challenge. So the workroom doors fling open and in rocks RuPaul on a granny scooter. I have to say, I was in hysterics. The little beeping, the little, like, how sassy he was. He was living. He was feeling his oats. I'm sorry. He was, like, on that, like, bitch, look at me. He was selling it to me. It was, as far as he was concerned, he was driving an Aston Martin. You know, you've got to sell the garment, darling. Sell the scooter. Oh. So he comes in on this granny scooter and announces to the workroom that for their mini challenge, they will be doing Sissy That Walker. Alright, did you clock the reference? Good. So the girls have 15 minutes to get dressed up in granny drag, and there's a whole big variety of grey wigs on the table and different shirts and dresses and like awful outfits for them to wear. And they have to do a Soul Train granny style dance-off thing. I'm like, okay. I mean, dancing granny Soul Train. Who comes up with this stuff? Like, what? So the girls get all dragged up and they are looking hilarious. Some of them are just mind-bogglingly funny. I mean, there's so many old people there. It's like the cast of Cocoon. And obviously Jasmine Masters would know all about that. Because Cocoon, do you remember that Cocoon? Did I mention enough about the Cocoon that she made in episode 1? The Cocoon! The Cocoon! So in the challenge, they're all giving everything they got. Trixie's trousers fall down. Max clearly already had the grey wig because it's the only wig colour that he wears. Okay. Kennedy was giving me granny at church realness. Like, that shit was down. I was like, that's the tea right there. That's realness. Loved it. And then Miss Fame giving everything she's got to try and be a performer / an old granny. She gives us this fabulous near-death drop. Not sure if that was her actually trying to do the drop or if that was what she thought a granny might do if she was doing a death drop. But it was both at the same time quite funny and slightly awkward. And girl, where did Jasmine get that loaf of bread? Like, I'm not being funny. Where did she find that loaf of bread? It was quite funny. Even Rue was a bit like, where's she got it from, Rue? So Kennedy and Max are announced the winners of the challenge and they become team leaders. And so for the main challenge, Rue reveals that the girls have to star and act in a comedy parody version of Shakespearean plays, darling. Hashtag Shakespeare. Now, girl, you know I'm a British bitch. Shakespeare, he's my homeboy, right? So, you know, we go way back. Way, way back. Okay? And Shakespeare is a huge part of British life. You cannot escape it. You study it at school. He's just everywhere. He's always being referenced. There's always stuff about him. So when some of the queens don't really know who he is or what he did, I am just kind of sat back like, how can you not know this? Like, what? How do you not know Macbeth? Like, Pearl didn't know what Macbeth was. And I'm thinking, maybe in American schools, you're not taught Shakespeare. I don't know. Wasn't brought up in America. But if you're not, I'm a bit surprised. But if you are, how does she not know about it? And how did most of the queens not know really kind of what they're doing? So for me, I was a little bit like, girl, I'm holding you to high standards on this one because, you know, British playwright. Get it right. Oh, look, rhyming couplets, and I didn't even have to try. It's in my blood, people. So the girls are picking who they want for their teams, and Violet is picked last again. And I think she's really starting to feel a bit left out. And part of me actually felt a bit sorry for her. It was, you know, she is a fabulous queen, but her attitude is shit. I hope that she turns her attitude around. I got the sense that she might have started to twig. You know, she was just like, why am I being picked last? You know, she wasn't being sassy about it. It seemed a little bit genuine, a little bit. So I'm hoping that she'll start realising and, you know, let her facade down a bit. So the girls get to rehearsing and Team Max has been given the play Romeo and Juliet. And Team Kennedy has been given Mac Bitch. Sounds fabulous! I'm sold already. Although, am I the only one thinking that they could have taken it to like the next level? So perhaps like Romeo and Julie T? Like, no? Okay, here's another one. What about Othello no she better don't? I mean, quite frankly, girl, we could do this for hours, but 'tis neither here nor there. Ding! Oh my god, I've just had a really good idea. Comment below with your drag Shakespeare plays. Like, if you can come up with something like that, drop it in the comments below or chuck it on Twitter. Hashtag drag Shakespeare. I think this could be something. This is fun. Okay. So we get to see Team Kennedy rehearsing. I say rehearsing. I mean it in the loosest sense of the word. I don't know what they were doing. It was stilted, disjointed. It was just rough. I mean, Kennedy sat there like, I don't want people to be in their comfort zones. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough, but you're doing a team challenge and there's a ghetto role there with someone that can really do ghetto quite well. And then you've got a bitch role with someone that is like always a bitch. And you think, oh, I know, I've got a great idea. Let's like swap them. So Kennedy gives Jasmine the main role of Lady McBitch and gives Violet the ghetto role of LaQuisha Kiana. I'm not being funny, but like, Kennedy, really, what was going through your head? The only thing that I can think of about this, and this is my little theory for you guys, I was wondering if Kennedy was trying to throw Violet under the bus by giving her a crap role that she would probably not be able to execute correctly. Maybe she was hoping that Violet would trip over, fall, and be landing in the bottom two. And then hopefully trying to send her home. You know, pull a Padge, that kind of thing. I don't know, but it's kind of what I was sensing. It's what I got from it. Because why would you put those two in those roles? It made no sense. So much so that after they're doing all that rehearsing and practicing and stuff, Kennedy then turns around and goes, you know what, this isn't working for me. She's starting to realise that, you know, whatever her plan was, if there even was one, isn't working, and Jasmine is struggling and Violet's still doing all right, that she goes, actually, you know what, I think let's just swap them back. So after all that time, Violet then becomes Lady McBitch and Jasmine becomes LaQuisha Kiana. They have absolutely no time left to rehearse anything or learn their lines. Violet is absolutely insistent that they rehearse once more together because she needs to know her new lines and her cues. Kennedy's saying, we haven't got time, just learn your lines as is. And it's just becoming an absolute shitstorm. I mean, I think Violet was quite justified in saying, we need to go through this again, we need to run through. And Kennedy's just sat in the corner like, the lady doth protest too much, methinks. So whilst Team Kennedy are just a complete wreck and are not cooperating and they're not working together, Team Max, on the other hand, are being very cohesive. They're working well together. Max is taking a very strong leadership role. And Max is obviously very theatrical anyway and very Shakespearean in the way that she talks. And so I had absolutely no doubt that this would be right up her street. So the girls go to the stage. They're in the theatre. And they have to start performing their act in front of RuPaul and Michelle Visage, who are sat to one side, giving notes, that kind of thing, making sure everything's going okay. So the first ones up are Team Max, and they are doing Romeo and Juliet. And I have to say they turned it out. You know, they knew their lines, they knew what they were doing, their looks were on point, they were working well together, everything was going great. It was funny, it was sassy, Max was giving me everything I wanted to see and more. I'm really warming to Max more and more and more every week. And everything's going fine until Jaden Dior Fierce has a moment, breaks down, cries everywhere, floods the stage, has to be evacuated, well, maybe not that far. And she's completely having a moment. And no one's really sure why. But the girls all get around her and Max gives her a little pep talk and says, you know, you got this, you're a badass performer, you can do this. Similar way that she gave to Sacha Bell in Untucked in episode 2. And I'm really starting to see this kind of leadership, almost motherly role to Max, which is really nice to see. I feel from her that she's genuinely rooting for everyone and that she really wants everyone to showcase the best of what they got. So I was like, good on you, Max. You know, you did a really good job of salvaging that because Jaden could have completely gone off the walls and ruined the entire performance. And she got her back in the room and managed to get through the rest of the performance and made it work. So, you know, well done for Jaden for getting through it, but well done to Max for guiding her and getting her to that point. What was interesting, though, was in previous seasons, queens have often said that they have no drama experience or acting experience. This year, Jaden said that, you know, she's panicking about it all and she's like, I have no acting experience. And Michelle was like, you know what, I've had enough of this crap. No, you are a drag queen. You have acting experience. You play a new character every single day. So she's clearly had enough. And I do think that the queens are being held to a higher standard this year than most years. I feel like they're really having to prove themselves. And I think they're perhaps slight apathy for certain things is being exacerbated. It's being, you know, exaggerated, and it's like you're watching them through a microscope. Every tiny little flaw, which perhaps in previous seasons might have gone unnoticed, is becoming a whole big thing. They're going, you know what? No, this isn't an excuse. This isn't a reason. This is not what we want to hear. You need to be here in the room, polished, perfected, and knowing what you're doing and prepared. And you know, as I say, Jaden was called out on it, but when we then get to Team Kennedy, that whole thing was a wreck. That was awful. And even Ru said, this is the worst car crash I've seen in 7 seasons of doing Drag Race. Like, he wouldn't say that lightly. Clearly, this guy is annoyed and angry. You know, Pearl is just being herself, but what they needed from her was not herself. You know, that kind of, yeah, hey dude, yeah, really cool cheerleading tryout, yeah. On an average day is quite funny, and I have warmed to her because of that. But in this challenge, she needed to do something different, and she didn't do it. And that whole kind of, you know, apathy that we read, that coldness, that sleepwalking thing that we feel from her is now being exacerbated again. And it's like, come on, Pearl, like, that's funny, yes, but not all the time. You know, it was funny, but it was awkward as well. She was missing cues and she was bumping into things. And yes, it was cute. And oh my God, the GIFs, whatever you want to call them now, that are going to come from this on Tumblr are just going to be fantastic. But is that really the thing that you want to be taking away from this, Pearl? Step it up, girl. Step it up, because I'm liking you. I'm really liking you, but don't do that every single time. You're the narrator. Give us some life. Candy Ho did fantastically. She was on point with her lines. Her look was brilliant. And she turned it out for me. She's taken a bit of a back seat in the last couple of episodes. I know I was ragging on her in episode 1. But this episode, she seemed a little bit more calm, a little bit more focused, and maybe she had come into the competition with a different head. Also, Katya, for me, completely redeemed herself. Her acting was hilarious. She didn't have a big part, but she made it her own. That whole bye dying thing was just everything. That was so funny. Also, considering Violet had no time to prepare her lines, I think she did well, all things considered. I think had she been given the full amount of time to learn her lines and get into character, as it were, I think she would have given a really good performance. I think she would have turned it out. But with such a short amount of time for what she turned out, I have to say, I think she did good. Kennedy and Jasmine, however, they were just awful. I mean, yes, the whole group wasn't working together, but Kennedy and Jasmine were just like in this whole other world. They like, Kennedy did not know her lines at all, and considering she was reading the others for it, especially Violet, be like, we all had the same amount of time to learn our lines and no one did. I'm like, you didn't know your lines. And Jasmine and Violet didn't have the same amount of time, so let's not go there, honey, really. And Jasmine was just everywhere. She did not know her lines, like, period. Like, none of them, you know. And you're just thinking, come on, like, I know you had no time, but you needed to pull something out of the bag. And the thing that she pulled out of the bag was the same wig that she wore in the mini challenge last episode. You know, it was just painful trying to watch her do the line over and over again and just getting it wrong over and over again. And, you know, like, come on, girl. You could see Ru was getting more and more frustrated with them. I mean, honey, he sat there and literally went, that is not a good sign in anybody's book, especially not from RuPaul. So the next day comes and all the queens are getting ready to do their runway, where the theme is bearded and beautiful. And do you like my little beardy homage to that today? Do you? Thumbs up if you like my little bearded homage. It's a nice little phrasing, that. Bearded homage. Drag queens and beards. I'm sensing Conchita Wurst realness inspiration here. Am I the only one? Hair is foul and foul is hair. Katya and Jaden having a Kiki, and like Max is sort of earwigging in the background, and you know, Jaden thinks she's going to be lip syncing, and she's like, I'm here for a reason. No ma'am, no Pam, no ham, no cauliflower, no cornbread, no green beans. I'm like, honey, do you want to add any more food to that shopping list? Like, what is this? RuPaul's Drag Race or RuPaul's Supermarket Sweep? Like, Gordon Bennett, what? Come on, shopping list. So the girls are all ready with their beards and their gorgeous dresses, and on the panel tonight, we have extra special guest judges of Kat Dennings and Mel B. I'm like, fabulous! They are both fierce queens. I'm like, hello. And also, can we just have a bit of a shout out to Michelle's outfit? How stunning was that? That was just form-fitting. That was just really a lovely top. I was like, wow, that was really lovely. It was really nice. So the girls all come out on the runway, and Max's runway is everything. That whole look, like the outfit alone was fabulous, but then the whole like crazy beard, like, oh my god, was so good. And she was like just serving it. It was incredible. So good. Trixie came out. You could see that she's toned down her makeup a little bit, which was lovely to see. And although I love the outfit, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful, but it was a little bit like if Jesus did drag, you know. Miss Fame comes running down the runway. I was like, is that Matthew Anderson? But is it though? Katya is serving Babraham Lincoln a realness that's like, don't go to the theatre! I love how her mind works. I just want to get in there for a few minutes and just see what's going on in there, because like, she's wackadoodle and I'm loving it. And Candy Ho, oh my gosh, that outfit was incredible. And like the hair was lovely. That whole outfit though was stunning. And I kind of wish we could have seen it without the beard, because the beard became invisible. You couldn't see it. It was a black beard on a black dress with black hair. And I didn't realise how long it was. You know, it was a proper Fu Manchu better work, girl. But what was nice was that she has changed her makeup slightly so that she doesn't look like she's painted on a beard. And it was good that Michelle had noticed it. And she said, you know, I've clocked it. Good work, keep it up. But then obviously Ru was just sat there laughing at the irony that she's finally not painted a beard on and they've asked her to put on a fucking beard. Like, Ru's little laugh and moment there was just gorgeous. It was superb. I loved it. The irony was incredible. So they get to watch both performances. Max's is very well received. Kennedy's is really not. So obviously Max's team are the safe ones. They've won the challenge and Max is crowned the winner. So Team Kennedy are all lined up on the stage and they're all being read for filth. Ru completely freaks out at them all because Jasmine is giving excuses, Kennedy's giving excuses, Violet's giving excuses, and he just completely is like, I've had enough of this, don't want to hear this no more excuses, no more this, no more that. You need to be prepared, you need to hit it right every time, get it right, make it work, do it. And like, he is scary, and I'm just sat there like, yes, mummy dearest. Like, if Katya had said that, because she seemed like the kind of person that would probably say that, I would have literally, like, fallen on the floor in hysterics. That would have been epic. So they're all, you know, critiqued. They all go off stage. The judges are chatting, and Mel B is like, I like Jasmine. And the other judges are just looking at her like, While that's all going on, backstage in Untucked, the girls are going at each other. Violet and Kennedy, it's just awkward. Kennedy is really running her mouth. Jasmine's kind of quiet, but she's already run her mouth enough anyway. Kennedy is showing a not very nice side to her, which I'm a little bit surprised by. She comes for Violet, who, oh, yes, Violet did throw Kennedy under the bus on stage, but Kennedy is really going for Violet. She also goes for Miss Fame, first as a joke, and then it becomes something else. Like, Untucked is getting drama-filled now, guys, and which is what we all expected. We all knew it would be. But that was a bit awkward to watch. Like, that was just not nice. Kennedy is trying to put up this defense mechanism, and it was just coming out as barking, and it just wasn't nice to watch. So the girls come back on stage, and it is revealed that Kennedy and Jasmine are in the bottom two. Pearl is given a wake-up call by being this close to being there, but Kennedy wins the lip sync and sends Jasmine home. Out, damn spot! Out, I say! So Jasmine has to sashay away. And we are one queen down again. And then we do it all again next week. How fabulous, girl. So I hope you've enjoyed the Kiki this week. Don't forget to comment below with any thoughts and feelings and drag Shakespeare plays that you might have. Get in touch. Don't forget to comment on each other's posts and stuff. Let me know what you're thinking, what you noticed, what we need to talk about, because there's a lot to talk about and there's only so much I can put in a video. But yes, thank you so much for joining me again this week. I have very much enjoyed your company. I hope to see you again next week. Don't forget to bring your friends, because there's room for everyone here. We are all inclusive. Drop me a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button down there as well. Come join the family. We're all friends here. But yes, hope you've enjoyed. Until next time, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, stay fierce, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.